regulars, simply because they're coming in from other time zones, and we got people traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I got people traveling from the East Coast out to the West Coast. So we're going to get started, man. I want to first introduce myself. My name is Darnell Davis. I am the CEO of the Evolve Media Group and your host today. I'm so excited to have with us Jeremy Roma. This guy is definitely one of the most inspiring people I've been around in a while. And I'm not just saying that to say it. I sat in a room with this guy on a couple of occasions here, and not just himself. If it was just Jeremy, but he seems to inspire everyone that he comes into contact with. So we want to just say, welcome, Jeremy. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, sir?
Hey, what's up, gang? Hey, Jeremy Roma here, and man, just excited. We launched a business project called the Freedom Project, and our mission is to empower 1,000 families to earn a residual 6 to 7 figures a year in income, and we're actually launching the Freedom Project Cafe via Facebook. It's going to be a virtual cafe via Facebook, and excited. We're actually launching that this Sunday. My mentor is a gentleman named Holton Buggs. He's made $40 million in the last 5 years with our particular business project. We happen to operate in the coffee and tea business, gourmet coffee and tea, and we've got a nutritional line of gourmet coffee and tea. And he's my coach and mentor. He's going to be joining us live Sunday for a live broadcast in the cafe, and we're just fired up, man. We've been able to expand now to 37 different countries. I just launched Costa Rica this week as our 37th country, and man, it's just exciting. So Darnell, I love meeting you in PA, man, and what you guys are doing with your virtual with your online magazines is just ingenious. And man, the conversations we had, the innovation that you were bringing to the table, and you'll hear me talk a lot about the word resonation. That we were definitely on the same frequency, if you will, when it comes to entrepreneurialism. So I'm just honored to be here hanging out with you guys, man. Looking forward to getting to say hello to everybody today and just being a part of your group, man.
Man, I appreciate you once again for taking that time out, man.
Yeah,
hey,
bro.
so on the line, I got a couple of our team members. I got Teray, who's now officially, I haven't officially made it official, but it's official. She's our chief operations officer now. She's somebody that's getting ready to take us and help get this guy organized. Get this guy organized. And then we got so far into the chat, we got our chief content officer, Jeremy. This guy is a copywriter extraordinaire, entrepreneur, marketing expert. I kind of all rolled up in one, man. I got Donnie Bryant, man. He's my right-hand man when it comes to this thing. Just an awesome guy, awesome mind when it comes to marketing, content marketing. He's definitely one of the people that has definitely revolutionized where the Evolve Media Group is going as far as content is concerned, where we're going as far as how the product lines that we have now. We're not just a magazine producer. We actually author. We actually publish books now. So there's just a lot of new things that are going in. But the reason why I really am glad that the two of them are on this call and on this edition of the virtual roundtable is that Donnie actually has been around since the beginning of the group itself. When I was just a blog site, he was one of my first contributors, and Teray has been around for a while as well, and these are individuals that have decided to come and link arms with me as we begin to take over the digital publishing world, if you will. But the importance of them being on with you is I want them to hear what others are saying about entrepreneurship. And someone like yourself, man, that has just all kinds of talent, that has all kinds of insight into this thing, because your story itself is very inspiring. So as we begin to look into the future, I guess if we can put a telescope on and begin to look into the future, right? We're pressing into the end of 2014, and we are going into 2015. Where do you feel as though entrepreneurship is going to rank as we begin to rebuild the lives or rebuild the economy?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love that question, and entrepreneurship's always been the backbone. Bottom line is you got two types of people out there, and those that are going to count on other people for the life they want, and those that are going to take it into their own hands. And my definition of freedom is to never have to say no to anything that my heart wants to say yes to. And the bottom line is today's system teaches people to march to their beat and go. I speak to groups all over the world, and it's funny. I'll ask them to finish the sentence with me, and I'll say, how many of y'all your parents taught you to go to school so you can get an education, so you can get a good, and everybody says job at the same time, and I always say, and a good job has good, and the whole crowd goes benefits. And it's funny that 1,000 people in one room have the exact same answer, from different cities, different states, different dads, different moms, the same programming. And then there's those of us that have looked at the fruit of that way of thinking. And one thing my mentor taught me is if you buy their philosophies, you buy their lifestyle. And we took a look at their lifestyle and said that's not what we want. And we began to look at people that have the lifestyle that we did want. And we realized very quickly, all of you on the call today, realized very quickly that you got to own your own business. You got to be in control of your own destiny financially. And we get paid to create, we get paid to think, we get paid to solve problems, and you can do that for someone else, and it'll tell you how much you're going to get paid, or you can go own the business. So to me, entrepreneurialism is it's for those of us that choose to. Kelly and I have a saying all the time that we want to live an uncommon life. We're sitting by the pool in Louisiana where we used to live about 2 months ago, and I said, "Babe, where do you want to live?" We moved in. Where do you want to live? And she said, "Destin, Florida." Destin is one of the top 5 beaches in the world, and pure white sand, crystal blue water, and just a gorgeous, big vacation spot. And so we went down to Florida 3 days later, met with a realtor, and within a couple of weeks, signed the papers on a new home right here on the beach in Destin, Florida. She said, "I want a home." It's funny, but she said, "I want a home with 2 master suites. I don't want 1 master because I want my own master, and you keep all your clothes in yours, and I don't want to pick up after you." And she said, "I want to decorate it the way I want, and I'm doing webinars late at night and all that around the world." And she said, "I want to have my own space, so 2 master suites." So we found a house with 2 masters. I'm actually in my master right now. I got an office built into it, and and you walk into hers, and it's all pink and glittery and girly, and it's perfect. So we meet up there at nighttime, but it's just little things. So what do you want? What do you want out of life? And to not have to say no to that. And I heard a great quote recently, and you guys will hear me say this again on Sunday night if you're able to join us for our live cafe event on Facebook. But Warren Buffett said, if you find something that you're passionate about, and I'm going to stop for a second. This really messed with me for a minute when I heard this, because I was always taught, find your passion and go do what you love to do. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Warren Buffett wrecked me. He wrecked me, Darnell. He said, if you find something you're passionate about, he said, make that your hobby. He said, but if you find something the masses are doing, make that your business. And I used to think early in my entrepreneurial days that I had to find my passion, and that I had to find what product, what this I loved or that I loved. And I realized that great business people, they're looking at what the market is demanding. They're in business to make money. And what I realized is there's a difference between accomplishment and fulfillment. And I'm in entrepreneurialism to make money. I'm a businessman at the end of the day to make money, and I make business decisions differently than I make personal decisions. And now with the Freedom Project, we were able to converge the two together and able to impact lives, and still tap into the coffee industry, something that the masses are doing. But I tell you, it wrecked me, man, because it kind of set me free to say, you know what, it's okay to actually look at this economy and say, where's the money at? And let's go get our bucket where the money's at and make business decisions, not emotional decisions. And it's for those of us that want to be free, man. That's what entrepreneurialism is. So I think it's here to stay, brother.
Well, my background is actually in the mortgage industry, and I remember the years where things were kind of just everything was just money hand over fist. There was just all kinds of great things happening, And then I remember sitting one day and watching the meltdown happen. I remember
Yeah.
sitting back, watching the newscast, watching everything, and watching this meltdown happen. Then I started watching how people were reacting to the meltdown. You had those who were deciding, I'm going to try to find another job because they've lost their job in the industry, or they've lost their job in some sort of way, and or their job added got rid of so much of their staff that their job now was triple and quadruple the amount of work for that same price, for that same pay
Yeah.
price. And I watched as I started developing my consulting firm how people were becoming. There were two types of entrepreneurs. You had the entrepreneur who, oh, my dream is to become an entrepreneur. I want to do something. I see something I want. I see a business. I want it. I'm going to go after it. Then you had this group of entrepreneurs that I call the entrepreneur by necessity. These were blessed people that, I can't go out and find a 9 to 5. I can't do this. I'm overqualified for that. This industry is totally gone all haywire. What am I to do? And I noticed the passion of those particular people. And in entrepreneurship, I've been watching how people have been developing. And right now, the successful entrepreneurs are not the entrepreneurs that it is a passion. Oh, I wanted to start my own business, so I went through all this rigmarole, got a business plan, I did this, and then I did that right, and then I went to the bank and I got a loan, and then those aren't the successful business owners right now. The successful business owners are like the gentleman who's on the cover of Evolution magazine this edition, Stefan Arthel. He actually built his business platform based upon what was SEOing, and he happened to see that what are those things called? Those paddle boards were trending, and he started a business with those paddle boards. From that business model, he then was called upon by Shark Tank. Shark Tank. He gets on the Shark Tank and flops completely. He totally messed up his presentation, his pitch to the Shark Tank, and I mean it was a huge meltdown.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban says, you know what? I don't care about all this. Let's talk numbers. Mark Cuban invests in his business. He went from a $35,000 sale in sales to last year did over $5 million in sales. This guy went. Now, he didn't do it because this is a passion. You know what? I've always wanted to start a paddleboard company. He said, look, I'm SEOing, and I noticed what's trending, and he got behind it. And I'm starting to see that a lot more in the entrepreneur realm. People are no longer just saying, you know what, I'm looking at what just drives me. Of course, you have to be driven as an entrepreneur. You have to be motivated as an entrepreneur. You have to love what you're doing, but it may not be what you are in love with. What you're doing may not be what you're in love with.
Yeah,
but
true.
you always have to be prepared. And so that statement there is great because that's what people are doing right now, man. Is they're finding themselves in a position where I have to make a decision. I got to work, but I can't find a job. I have to do something to create a lifestyle for myself. But the market still, although they talk job numbers and all that stuff, globally, there's entrepreneurship is on a rise. And that's one of the reasons why we're having this show right now is we want to get behind that. We want to get and push people behind that. So that being said, I have to ask this next question, man, is what is your take on effective entrepreneurship? I have to ask you because
all entrepreneurship is going to come down to leadership. It's going to come down to the ability to help other people get what they want out of life, and help other people tap into their creativity, and it's going to all be about leadership. No great project happens by itself. And I would love to real quick because I know you got a couple of your business partners here as well. I'd love to just connect with you guys a little bit too. Taria, so tell me a little about yourself, Taria. What's your background and how did what entrepreneurial endeavors are you involved with right now? What's your passions?
All right, well, hello everybody. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I recently worked as the operation director for another media group, but it wasn't anything like Darnell's. It just was more based on entrepreneurship. We were more in the music industry. We started offering even artist management services. We had a couple DJs, musicians, actors signed on the roster. I helped manage all them. I structured the company. I built it from the ground up, and then I busted it down into different sections, and then I just had like a policy and protocol procedure for everything that went, flowed throughout the company. So that's, my background, and I did that for 2 years, and, I've known Darnell a couple years more than that, and he's seen what I was doing, but I was just so caught up in the nonsense, and then as soon as he seen that I wasn't there no more, he swooped in and he snatched me up immediately. He didn't waste any time at all.
I love it. As my mentor Holden says, he's a good talent scout, huh?
I guess so, and that's what I told him. I said, well, you got to be good at something because you got me, so.
I love it. Taria, where do you live?
I'm in Easton, actually. I'm in the same area as Darnell.
Good. I was born. I live in Florida, but I was born in Easton.
Oh, really?
There, I was born there until I was 4 years old.
Oh. Well, I guess yeah, you count. You count. You're a native.
I love it. Yeah, I was born. I guess I can claim it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. And Donnie, how about you, man? What's what's your story? What's your background, man? What kind of businesses are you rocking right now?
Well, I have a crazy background. Too long a story to tell. When it comes to entrepreneurship, I've been a self-employed copywriter and marketing consultant. Wow. I mean, some people say that's not a business, it's self-employment. You can call it what you want to. It pays the bills. Since 2009, and hanging out with Darnell since it's been 3 years, so 2011, yeah. 2012, whatever it was. So trying to, help entrepreneurs in most cases sell more of their stuff.
Yeah. I love it, man. That's huge. Well, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said because you brought up a great. I love that comment. And first of all, congratulations. Even if it would fall into the self-employment category, you've done what 80% of people in the world will never have the guts to do, and that's bet on yourself and go out and work for you and take control of that. And I always tell people I'd rather make less money and be in control than go work for someone else any day of the week. And there's freedom to that. That just it's priceless. And but Robert Kiyosaki teaches the four quadrants of money, of time, freedom, and all that. And quadrant one, of course, is you're an employee. Quadrant two is you're self-employed, and then quadrant number 3 is you move into business, or what he calls big business. And then quadrant number 4, where the real game is played, and I'm just starting to move into this level, and some of the guys that are mentoring me are really playing big. But that's the investment level. That's where your money's making money for you, And in quadrant 3 in big business, your team, your people, your organization is making money, generating the revenue and making money for you as a company. But in quadrant 4, your money's working for you. And of course, that's really where we all want to get to. I relate, man. I was in that self-employed quadrant for a while, many years of my life, and I never made the money I wanted to make there. But I learned more. I challenged myself. I grew. I learned people skills. I had the freedom that I wanted to at least be. I don't mind working hard, but it felt a lot better telling myself to work hard, than someone else telling me to work hard. And I learned, started to learn about big business. So, Darnell, to answer your question about, what makes effective entrepreneurialism, I think there's 2 words. This really, when you grab this helps people really go from the self-employed quadrant to the business quadrant. And those 2 words are leverage and duplication. If you look in the dictionary, the online dictionary, the definition of leverage, it's pretty powerful. It says leverage is the ability to produce results by indirect means. Pretty powerful definition if you apply it to business. The ability to produce results by indirect means. In quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2, results are being produced by direct means. You're producing a paycheck at some level directly proportionate to your performance or what you do or what you're capable of doing. Leverage is the ability to produce results by indirect means, and there's a lot of ways to to do that and to get into that game. I like to use the example of McDonald's, the McDonald's story. Right now in our particular company, we just came out of our first 5 years, now coming up on year 6, and we've now branded or labeled that as Wave 1, kind of the first wave of momentum in our company. And I came in January and really locked arms with Holt and Bugs, and we launched what's called a Wave 2. And Wave 2, last year we did about $380 million last year in sales without a dollar of advertising, no advertising, but with a lot of leverage and a lot of duplication. And our goal in the next 5 years is to grow the company to $1.5 billion per year in revenue. And so I've been thinking a lot about the McDonald's story where, if you guys you're probably familiar with it, but I'll tie it into this. So McDonald's, came on the scene and they had this crazy great idea to make fast food. Up to that point, if you wanted to eat at a restaurant, you went in, you sat down. It was an hour process. And they came up with the idea, people are getting busier and busier. Let's create a restaurant model where we cook the food fast. At that time they came out on roller skates. They skated up to your car and they served your food. And it actually took off. What happened was they started to break records in the restaurant industry. They were making more money per hour than, with much less expense than what the big restaurants were doing. They could service many times more people. A restaurant could only service as many people as it could hold every hour. Well, they were moving people in every 5 minutes. So what a restaurant would do in an hour, they would do in 5 minutes because they'd come and go, come and go, come and go, so they could handle a lot more traffic, and they created some leverage there, and they proved the model worked. But the McDonald's brothers were entrepreneurial in the sense they created a new idea, but they weren't really big business owners. They were at work every day. They ran the restaurants. They showed up. They were in there cooking. They owned the business, but they never went from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3. Well, Ray Kroc shows up on the scene. Ray Kroc hears about this restaurant with this new concept selling hamburgers, fries, and shakes. That was their product. And he saw the amount of money they were creating at this little fast food restaurant, and he got a hold of the idea of duplication. Now, McDonald's had leverage because they figured out how to utilize machines together, some new ideas. Leverage. They created leverage. They were producing results more indirectly. And but Ray Kroc came in and said, let's take leverage to the next level, and let's take duplication to the next level. And they said, if a restaurant can work in this city, it can work in any city. And that's where the idea of franchising really took off. And Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald's brothers, and he launched McDonald's restaurants as we know it today. And the concept was now duplication. And what Ray Kroc understood was a business principle that if this restaurant can make this amount of profit, how do I increase my profit? And there's two answers: knock down the walls and people to your spot, or take your spot and put it all over the world. And he began to duplicate, and that was really the entrepreneurialism factor. Now with that, he had to master he had to figure out, how do we get the hamburger to taste the same in China, in Mexico, in Florida, and in Pennsylvania? How do we get the hamburger, the French fries, and the milkshake to all be the same worldwide? So he had to develop a system, and they call it now, McDonald's University. Every McDonald's manager and owner has to go to McDonald's University, and they teach them the system, how many squirts of ketchup, how many pickles, because they understood that every burger had to taste the same. And then they duplicated that, and that was really where the relationship part came in. where they realized we've got to develop leaders, we've got to train people to run a successful restaurant, to become great managers of employees, and they began to master those two sciences, the art of leverage and the art of duplication. And so, that's a big part of entrepreneurialism. There's a great book, guys, if you haven't read it yet, I recommend you do. It's called Speedwell, and it's by T. Harv Eker. It's called Speedwell, and he talks about how in today's business, he said, if you don't have a business plan to get to $1 million or more in personal income in 3 years or less, he said you're in an archaic business model. And in his book, he talks about how to begin to become more system-driven, how to create to speed up the growth of your company. And it's a great book called Speedwell that you definitely want to check out. So, for me, it was, I'm not really that good at like management type stuff. I failed in traditional business multiple times. So for me, when I saw the opportunity to own an online coffee business, I said, hey, I can make friends, and I know how to, help people make money, and I know how to think and believe big. It was a great fit for me as an entrepreneur because I was able to, to get involved with building a distribution network, marketing a product that a lot of people out there were drinking every day, making it nutritional. So now your coffee and tea is healthy. It's a nutritional product. And I saw a great opportunity to earn some real residual income because I knew coffee customers will buy coffee over and over and over again. So took those same principles really that Ray Kroc applied with McDonald's. And I said, I looked at this company. I said, look what they've done in wave one. They broke records. They proved that they could sell hamburgers and milkshakes, if you will. They did some pretty big things. And I came on the scene, this year, and that's where you and I started talking business a couple months ago, is we are now taking this thing global, saying, look, if it worked in Texas, for example, we've got in Texas, we've got, 50 or 60 business partners now in Texas that are part of our company that are making anywhere from $25,000 all the way up to $500,000 a month in income, and they're working from home. They're a home-based business, with us. And they blew up in Texas, man, blew up. Last year, 41 of my business partners made over $100,000 in a single month. Well, I looked at that, and that's where you and I sat down in Pennsylvania and said, look, there's nobody in Pennsylvania. They haven't heard of us yet out here. In Texas, it's everywhere. But it's open in Pennsylvania. It's open in Florida. It's open we just launched Nigeria. It's open in Europe. It's open in Malaysia. And that's where, the entrepreneurial side kicked in. And look, I'm not passionate about coffee. I drink it every day. I love it. But it's not my life's calling. But I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. And this is the last thing I'll say on your question. I think the key for entrepreneurs is our ultimate passion is winning. I think that's the underlying thing for an entrepreneur. Is we like a challenge. We like to win. We like to create something out of nothing. And, I think that's the payoff.
Yeah.
So,
wow, that was a nice trick and educational moment. I've heard the Ray Kroc story over and over again, and and a couple of those different things you just learn because you go into business. If you've read any of the normal business books that are out there, man, you had to know about the McDonald's because that was essentially the first in show when it comes to duplicating your product and being able to have more hands and to help you build your business. So whether one of the quotes that I remember is I would much rather have 1 million hands helping me make $1 million than to try to make $1 million on my own with my hands. So, so those are some, when it comes to leveraging and learning and what is entrepreneurship, there's just so many different this day and age, there's just so many different vehicles wherein we can utilize. There's so many different vehicles. It doesn't matter the product, it doesn't matter. There's just so many vehicles that we can do. But we can use in order to get to that point where we're leveraging our time, we're leveraging our energies, we're leveraging our networks, we're leveraging the people that are in around us, and use those moments to have people help us grow our business. And so those things are kind of a constant. So that's one of the blessings about being an entrepreneur, about being a business owner or self-employed. I kind of think of it like this. Everyone says, everyone says that MLMs and all those different things are are essentially, some of them are what do you call, hoax and stuff like that. You get that bad rep. And granted, there are some products and services that are in those industries that aren't as effective. I wrote a blog post, so you can find it on www.evomag.co. But I wrote a blog post not too long ago. I think Donnie was it's been about 6 months since I wrote the blog post. But the blog post was about why you shouldn't get involved with MLMs and other types of marketing opportunities. Why you shouldn't. When you take a look at I won't tell you about the post, but when you take a look at it, you'll notice that that I have a different point of view regarding it. I think that anything that gets you into, in this economy, anything with the right base, with the right product, with the right opportunity, anything that gets you into the doorway of entrepreneurship, you should take advantage of it. Right now, the cost of a franchise, I had the opportunity last July to interview for Evolution magazine. He's the youngest Chick-fil-A franchise owner. He's out here in Phillipsburg, New Jersey.
Okay.
And we had a nice conversation. I learned so much about the system that Chick-fil-A has as far as their franchises are concerned. And then he told me how much money he personally put into building that franchise, and it's staggering. It is mind blowing on how much money. Then I've talked to entrepreneurs that can tell you, I started my thing from the ground up, and this is how much money I invested in it. And it's still staggering, these numbers. And so you can't deny things that in entrepreneurship, you can't overlook the small things and say that they don't exist, because I also know people that have worked from they bootstrapped and they've worked their way up, they built their companies, they're multimillionaires. But I also know people that got involved with a MLM or a product service like that, and they're multimillionaires. So we can't say that it doesn't work. What we're talking about is the effectiveness of the entrepreneurship. And regardless of what product, what program, what thing that you decide to do, entrepreneurship is really right now is the answer. It's the key to freedom. Yeah. You know, we talked about it earlier, how you can make your own decisions, and you would struggle more to make your own your own decisions than to be told what to do by someone who can control your finances. You know, when you start looking at it from that perspective, you start thinking to yourself like, maybe this is not a good fit. Not everybody's cut to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's meant to be one. There are people who are not in that area. That's just not what they do. But for me, and the people that I know and the people that we're talking to, this is the only way to go. You've outdone yourself in corporate America. You've ruined yourself for corporate America because you're motivated. You're a self-starter. You're a free thinker. You start thinking about that. When you start really thinking about what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and those of us who are entrepreneurs, we ruin ourselves for corporate America. Because corporate America wants you they want you to follow the program. They want you to follow the system. They want you get up, you go in, you serve your time, you leave. You give your time in between serving your time. You get a lunch break. You get a couple bathroom breaks. But that's all you get. But in entrepreneurship, and the reason why I wanted to bring you on specifically was not the product, but this idea of the Freedom Project.
Yeah.
And what it means for people, for someone who is looking to get into becoming an entrepreneur, but they're just looking for that vehicle, someone who's on the fence. We're not saying that it's something for everyone, and we're not necessarily endorsing what it is, but what we're talking about is the mindset of creating an entrepreneur. There are a lot of people that don't really realize that the task that you're undertaking with the Freedom Project is not a simple task. It's not an easy task. It is definitively going to be a task that is an undertaking, and it's going to take many hands. So I wanted you just to take a couple of minutes and introduce the idea or the concept of the Freedom Project to our viewers, and then on the other side of that, what kind of impact do you think that it's going to have immediately on the lives of the people that come in contact with the Freedom Project?
Absolutely, man. Hey, I love it, man. And then I'm gonna close out here in the next few minutes, and I got another webinar to jump on. So, man, it's been an honor to be with you guys. I say, Robert Kiyosaki says this too. He says that everyone ought to, if they want to be an entrepreneur in any field of life, everyone ought to get into network marketing. Not all to get rich. Not everyone's gonna love network marketing as a business. But he said for the free education. He said in network marketing is the only business model where you have self-made millionaires that will pour their entire knowledge base, their wisdom, their life's experiences into you as part of their team, because that's what we do. We teach people how to think the right way. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Be transformed by the renewing of the mind. And most people have been taught that by that system that we talked about earlier, how to think the wrong way, limited belief systems about themselves, and to teach people, to set people free, to be able to believe in who they are, to know who they are, to trust and to follow their heart, and to live out of inspiration versus desperation, to live in bliss and happiness. That's new knowledge for people. And so the Freedom Project really is about creating an environment where through personal development, through growth and through mentorship, teaching people how to really build successful business, create a successful environment in their brain, in their world they live in, their home, their life, what successful energy looks like. And that's the funnest part for me, is watching other people win and win big, and that's one of the reasons I want to definitely invite you guys to the cafe on Sunday night. I think anytime someone has a chance to hear from someone who's making over $1 million a month in income, and they've done it in just 5 years, it's a huge opportunity to learn, to pick up some nuggets. Definitely want to invite you guys to the Facebook Cafe on Sunday. Y'all are welcome to come as guests of mine or guests of Darnell's, and come on in and check out the live broadcast and hang out with us. But you're right about network marketing, and it's one of those things. And I'm a skeptic, man. I'm not one of those network marketing guys. I've only done 3 network marketing companies in 20 years. I've said no to everything that's come across my desk. But from a business perspective, I will just share this with you guys. I'll plant a seed, I guess, with you right now. The reason I chose this company, this business project, the reason I chose number one, gourmet coffee, is because it's a product that is already in high demand. Like Warren Buffett said, find what the masses are doing. The reason I chose Holton Buggs as a mentor is because he's a gentleman that has done and is living out what I want to be and live out. I think it's important to have a mentor or a group of leaders that are mentoring you who have the life that you want. And you can follow and duplicate their philosophies, and as a result of that, create that life. You can follow their disciplines, and as a result of that, create the life that you want. It's exciting because when you think big and have a big vision, you attract people with big vision. And I shared that we launched Nigeria a couple months ago, and we have a couple, Chuma and Ibella, who contacted us, and we began conversations. And they were looking at some different entrepreneurial ventures, kind of deciding what direction they wanted to go to. Nigeria is fairly new to capitalism and free economy, less than 50 years now. And they said it's time for us to become business owners. They both worked jobs, and they knew they had to own a business. They were looking at different options. When we talked, we didn't talk about coffee. We didn't talk about Organogold, our company. We talked about the Freedom Project. And we shared the vision of the Freedom Project. And they called back an hour later and said, we want to launch the Freedom Project Nigeria. And they said, your goal is to help 1,000 families make 6 to 7 figures a year in residual income. We want to help 100 families become completely financially free through the Freedom Project here in Africa. And it's interesting that you attract like-minded people. And so for me, that's the thrill, man. It's not, we're on the other side of money. It's not about the money. It's not about any of that. At this point, it's about the mission. It's about the crusade. And it's about empowering people to live the life they want. Again, my definition of freedom is to never have to say no to anything that your heart wants to say yes to. So, Darnell, I'm excited, man. I would love for you guys to come and hang out with us on Sunday, and just hang out and watch the broadcast in the Freedom Power Project Cafe on Facebook, and it'll be a good time. I'll be interviewing and having a conversation with Holton Buggs himself. the #1 money earner in the entire industry of direct marketing. He's earned over $40 million the last 5 years. Incredible leader, over $1 million a month now in income. Powerful. Not that it really matters, but I think it's pretty epic as well. He's also African American. He's the first African American to be the #1 money earner in the industry of network marketing, and in his early 40s, and has just changed the game. He is the #1 sought out speaker in the industry, and his time is so valuable. I can tell you, it's to be in his presence and in his coaching is really an elite opportunity. And the fact that he is actually doing this event just for us, the Freedom Project, that he's going to come in on Sunday and share his knowledge and his insight on our business project. It's a great opportunity for you guys to get to hear from someone who's my mentor, my coach, and I believe one of the greatest businessmen that I've ever had an opportunity to work with in my life. So that's going to be Sunday at 7 o'clock, man, Eastern Standard Time, and I'd love for you guys to come and hang out with us, and we'll send you some free coffee samples too. There's a link on the cafe. Just click on that link, and we'll send you some free coffee and tea samples, and you can pick out the flavors you want. I'd love to hook you and your crew up with some good gourmet coffee.
Well, that being said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be linking up with this particular meeting, because when you have forget the product around it. When you have an opportunity to listen and glean from an individual who is making $1 million a month, you want to listen. Regardless of what you think about anything else, this individual is doing what it takes in his life. There's some habits that he has, there's some ideas, there's some philosophies, there's some mindsets, there's some mantras, there's some different things that are going on with this individual that if you glean just a little bit of it, you may not look for that product, but if you can implement those different strategies, those mindsets, those mantras into your life, you can definitely change yours as well. And you can put yourself on that pathway towards the success that you desire. So this is our very first virtual roundtable Google Hangout. We've had so many different people popping on. I love the feedback that everybody's sending us. I want to say thank you to Jeremy. I want to say thank you to Donnie and to Ray. I really appreciate you guys. This week is going to be an awesome week for us. There's some things that are changing. There's some things that we're adding. And I want to say to everybody who's watching and who's already been watching, who's going to watch this later, make sure you connect with us. Visit us on www.evilmag.co. Let us know what you thought about this particular show. And we'll see you next week when we're going to be talking to someone very close to my heart. He's one of the cover stories. His name is Lane Etheridge. He's one of the cover stories for Evolution magazine. He's got a success story regarding entrepreneurship that you won't want to miss. Take care. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.